Welcome back to Webcertain TV. I'm Gemma Houghton. Today I'm joined by Stephen Power, who's Agency Development Manager at Google, and we're going to be discussing some of the ways in which search is changing and how marketers need to keep up with that. Hi Stephen, thanks for being here.
Not a bother at all, how are you?
Good, thank you. So obviously we all kind of are very aware that search changes, that digital changes, and always things are moving on and marketers need to keep up with that. Mm-hmm. One of the main areas that's happening in is mobile at the moment. What are the key things you're seeing happening with mobile, and what are the key things you think businesses need to be doing?
Yeah, well, the key thing, I mean, the main thing over the past year is that searches on mobile devices have now overtaken desktop. So basically, mobile is now the first place people will go to actually try and find information. What marketers can do to keep up, I mean, it's a very, very big topic and something which we have a lot of collateral on. But marketers need to, I think, take three things into account. The ad space on a mobile device, if you think about it, if you're in the first position, it's a lot bigger and more kind of front and center than it would be on a desktop device. Yeah. And you also can add little ad extensions, so little, click to call buttons and site links to various different parts of your website, and that makes your ad even bigger. So the first thing would be to kind of make sure you have ad extensions on your ads so that it actually appears very big on the smartphone so people can't miss it. Mm-hmm. The second thing would be a very obvious one. We get very, very frustrated these days if a website doesn't load quick enough. Basically, we're not very loyal when it comes to websites and information on a mobile device. So me personally, I'm sure people will resonate with this a little bit. If a website takes too long to load, we'll get off it straight away. We'll be actually annoyed with the brand and we'll move on to one of their competitors. So having a fast mobile site is definitely number two. And number three is actually also related to the mobile site as well. Is follow the basic principles that have a good that allow you to have a good mobile site. Yeah. And we have that actually readily available online. If you Google 25 principles of mobile site design, it's there in front of you and everybody can see it. And there are 25 very, very good principles that you stick to in order to have a good mobile site. So I think there's lots more things. But
yeah, some of the key fundamentals to really have in place.
Yeah, exactly. And
that's kind of almost what needs to be done now. So people are using smartphones, as you say, the kind of expectations of people that they're going to have a quick experience on a website, that it's going to be easy to navigate, etc., are pretty high now.
Yeah.
But things are always evolving, and that's not going to just stay as it is for now. They're going to be expecting other things. So one of the other things that's coming through a lot is voice search. And we're seeing quite a big growth in that. So how does that also impact the way that brands need to be, adapting their mobile? Because of course it's mobile where we're going to see the most of that happening. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And it's actually hard to predict what way voice search will go. I think what we're seeing so far is that it's becoming a bit more long tail and a lot more, people are just asking questions of Google in a more sort of human way. Yeah. I know that's very kind of broad and very difficult to actually nail down how to actually advertise with searches becoming longer. But I think another aspect of the way we can bridge that gap or get over this potential red herring in the search mix is actually to use audience data when you're advertising. So you can set up a campaign in Google AdWords and you can actually target by age and gender. So you can even remove, we'll say, over 65s if you don't think that that's the market you're going for. Yeah. Or you can remove male or female, we'll say, if you're, so you can use that audience data. We also have remarketing, which I'm sure most people are aware of. So you can either remove or exclusively target people who have been on your website before. And also we can use businesses' data as well now. So we have a feature called Customer Match. So if you've got a bank of data or a CRM system which is collecting emails, we'll say, of people who've purchased from your website before, you can actually target these people specifically. Or if they're not going to purchase again, you can actually remove them from your campaigns. So essentially, and one interesting stat is that 16% of all searches are actually brand new these days. So the one way to get over this massive bank of unpredictability and random searches that are coming out of voice search is actually by layering your campaigns with audience data and making them more tailored even before you set them live, so that it's hitting the exact right demographic, the exact right people who have been on certain pages of your website before, or even people who have purchased before, or people in your favorite customers of yours even. So using all that audience data is one way we can certainly bridge that gap.
Yeah.
And it's becoming better. Like, technology is becoming much better in search advertising, and audience data is right behind it.
And that links in, I guess, to the whole experience that people expect to have, which is now that they expect a personalised experience. They expect to find what it is that they're looking for quite quickly and aren't really prepared to spend the time sifting through a long amount of lists of searches and of different websites to find that.
Yeah, I know for sure, and it's also something that, like, if you're not relevant, as people will know, you'll be punished by Google essentially. So you're less likely to appear in the top positions if you're showing a completely random ad that's not relevant to the search, or even if someone's searching for football boots and you take them onto your ski boots part of the website.
Yeah.
You know, so if your landing page isn't relevant either. So if you do, I mean, it is massively important now in 2017 to be as relevant as possible, because we are so impatient on that one particular device.
Yeah.
But even still, Google will pretty much punish you as well if you're not relevant.
Yeah.
And you know, your quality score will take a hit if your ad's not relevant to the search, or if your website's not relevant to the ad text.
And then something else worth asking about, I think, is video, because that's something which has been talked about a lot in, over the past few years. It's becoming bigger and bigger and more. That's what customers want to use to find out information. It's how they want to interact. How are you seeing video changing the way videos are being used, and what are the biggest opportunities do you think for brands to utilise it?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, Google owns YouTube, which is ever evolving, and it's fantastic that we do. So we're at the forefront of online video and how people are behaving with it, and we're able to figure out what's changing there. I think a big trend these days are the how-to videos. So I'm sure everyone watching will agree that at some point they have asked, how do I do this thing that I'm trying to do right now to YouTube? YouTube is now actually the second largest search engine in the world as well, which is mental. But these how-to videos, they usually start with a search. It's someone looking for information. So there's actually over 100 million hours of how-to videos watched this year so far, which is quite amazing. So any brands that are in that space, I mean, how-to videos are a great way of generating a bit of activity behind your channel, gaining followers, subscribers, getting people liking and sharing your videos, because that seems to be working. Yeah, I think that's one big trend in YouTube of late. I mean, of course, there's also people wandering around in the browsing phase of YouTube, which I'm sure you get sucked into sometimes, where you're just mindlessly going through videos, in which case, of course, YouTube advertising comes in. Yeah,
so just, I mean, to touch on the advertising a little bit then, because there are very many different ways within YouTube that you can advertise, and obviously there'll be different options which are more appropriate for different types of brand and for different types of campaign. But in general, what are the best ways to get started if you're not already advertising? What are the best ways to just test it out and see what you could potentially do?
Yeah, I think the best ways really are, I mean, it's a very, like, the platform is excellent value for money in terms of advertising. I think, like I touched on, having a good channel beforehand, I think that's very important. I think you can put your marketing cap on as to what a good channel would look like for your business, and what you think would go viral. I just gave a little point on how to, but there are many things that work when it comes to viral content, I guess. But yeah, having a strong channel is obviously a very good base to start with YouTube advertising. But if you don't have a strong channel, you can still advertise on YouTube in a very efficient manner. So I think we've got like our charging model is essentially you only pay when people have watched at least 30 seconds of your ad. So you know, the way in our in-stream ads, so when you're actively watching a video, if an ad comes up beforehand, you get the skip ad button. So if you skip the ad before 30 seconds is viewed, or the entire ad if it's shorter than 30 seconds, then that's actually a free impression for you as a marketer. So that's superb value for money. We also have, to get you off the ground, a big bugbear of a lot of brands, or a blocker for particularly SMBs, was the fact that video agencies and marketing agencies were charging quite a bit to create polished videos for their brands. We've got an iPhone app called YouTube Discovery, which actually allows people to download, and it takes you through the whole process. You can just video and add on your iPhone, and it takes you through each of the editing processes and gives you hints and tips as to how to make a great YouTube video ad. So that's kind of hopefully a cheaper way for smaller brands, I guess, to get online and get on advertising on video. And when you do, as I said, it's great value for money. And also, I think just hints and tips as to how to best create your video. Usually the shorter the better. So like, I'd like to say 20 to 30 seconds is a good snappy ad. And also, because you can skip after 5 seconds, make sure you have your brand name in the first 5 seconds of the ad, just so you're getting it out there. So that would be the tip,
Right, so a few things there for people to give a try. So just to finish off then, what would be your one tip that you would give businesses in general when they're looking at search, either across general search or YouTube, that they really should, is the hot thing to be focusing on now and where there's a big opportunity?
Cool. I would say, I think it's more of the same from what I was talking about earlier on. Audience. We've got more data these days than ever before, so use it. A lot of people, seem to be getting on fine without layering their campaigns with audience data. But in order to be in the right place, in front of the right person at the right time in online advertising as a whole, Google or otherwise, is to use the data that we all have at our fingertips. So target the right age groups, target the people who have dropped off at the shopping cart, and were just about to purchase the football boots that they wanted but didn't, and use your own data, use your CRM data, because that can be done these days. So I would say make sure your campaigns are audience first, and that's the way they're going to be as relevant as possible, and that's the way you're going to make most money, I guess.
Great. Well, thanks very much. It was really good to talk to you today.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thanks.